one important thing you should know that when we write history or a story, we divide it into a chapters. Why do we do this? Because it is to give each chapter some coherence, and it is to tell a story in a way that makes some sense and can be followed. So historian, when writing history, always mention a particular time period, like the British time period for 200 years, started from 1757 to 1947. So why do we use this particular time period? Because it gives us a particular overall concept about the historical thought. So how do we periodize? Periodize means dividing the entire time period, a particular time span. James Mill, a Scottish economist and political philosopher, published a massive 3-book work, The History of British India. He wrote a book, The History of British India, in which he divided the Indian history into 3 categories: Hindu, Muslim and British. This periodization came to be widely accepted, but can you think that any problem with this division? He divided Indian history into Hindu, Muslim and British. You can see he divided the Indian history on the basis of religion and British administration. But he mentioned only 2 religions, Hindu and Muslim. But at that time, in British period, there were so many religions like Buddhism, like Jain, like Parsis, etc. He did not mention. So here is the problem with this periodization or division of time. So why do we divide history into different periods? This is a question. It may be in your exam, note down. We do so in the attempt to capture the characteristics of time. As I mentioned that we divide or we mention a particular time period like British period, like Mughal period, like Sultan period, etc. So why do we periodize history? We do so in the attempt to capture a characteristics of time, its central figure as they appear to us. So the term through which we periodize, that is demarcate the difference between period, become important. They reflect our idea about the past. James Mill thought that all Asian society were at lower level of civilization than European. According to his telling of history, before British came to India, Hindu and Muslim despots ruled the country. Religious intolerance, caste, taboo, superstitious practice dominated social life and social life. British rule, Mill felt, could civilize India. So why did he divide the Indian history into 3 categories, Hindu, Muslim? Here is the answer. He thought that the all Asian society was suffering with the old age taboo, religious intolerance. They fought to each other before British came to India. So that's why he used the term Hindu, Muslim and British. But here is a problem with this classification. Some of the Indian historian question over this division, that at that time there were so many religions and Mill did not mention those religious group. Look at this. In this idea of history, British rule represented all the force of progress and civilization. The period before British rule was one of darkness. Can such a concept be accepted today? Never, because our ancient king, our ancient ruler made significant achievement in so many fields, science, in culture, in monument construction, etc.